Day in the park. A hot, muggy day in the park. Hey, welcome back. I'm so glad you could join me. Today we came back down to Azalea Park in Summerville, South Carolina. I know it's kind of an unbikerly scenario, but I wanted to talk about some of my favorite biker movies. Now in this list, I'm including dramas, documentaries, what have you. But these are some of my favorites. You know, over the past 70 to 80 years, bikers have been portrayed in different ways. Most of them pretty hideous, actually. And while they may just be movies, that often plays into the public psyche of what a biker is. So I wanted to take a moment and recommend a couple of movies that I think are fantastic. I think most of them are probably documentaries. I tried to stay away from some of the typical movies like Easy Rider or Rebel Without a Cause. Those are too simple. And quite honestly, by now they're getting a little dated. They're classics. But I wanted to talk about some newer offerings. Perhaps one of my favorites is 2004's Long Way Round. Ewan McGregor, or as we all like to refer to him, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and Charlie Boorman took a couple of motorcycles from London to New York going the long way round. This BBC TV documentary miniseries starts from the planning stage and follows them all the way through to the completion of their almost 19,000 mile trip on motorcycles. I think this set the tone for a lot of YouTube channels that exist today, this travel adventure motorcycle genre, and it set the bar pretty high. 3 years later, in 2007, Ewan and Charlie once again struck out from the tip of Scotland to the tip of South Africa in the follow-up Long Way Down. It was entertaining, and it was a sequel, but Long Way Round will always be, for me, a classic. My second choice, 21 Days Under the Sky. 4 guys meet up in San Francisco and take the 3,800 mile trip down the Lincoln Highway, which is the oldest coast-to-coast route connecting the East and the West. This offering is cinematically beautiful, and I think in a lot of ways captures my idea of what it is to be a biker. Narrated by Robert Patrick, it's something that I watch at least twice a year. Number 3, some people may think this movie is corny. In 1981, they came out with a made-for-TV movie called Return of the Rebels. Barbara Eden is the widowed owner of a campground that is threatened and terrorized by a group of young ne'er-do-wells led by Patrick Swayze. And she is helped out by her friends, the former members of the Eagle Rock Rebels motorcycle club. They come to her rescue, hold their 25th reunion at the campground, and run off the troublemakers. From 1981, it's a little dated, and it might be a little bit of a silly movie, but it's a feel-good story. It's kind of cotton candy for your TV set, but it shows bikers in a positive light and being the heroes, and that alone is worth the price of admission. Number 4, it can be hard to describe the feeling of riding a motorcycle and why we're so much in love with it. But in 2013, Why We Ride attempted to do just that. This documentary, full of interviews and beautiful clips, attempts to answer the question of why people are drawn to motorcycling. And the answers are as varied as the people they interviewed. This is a beautifully done documentary, and if you ride, you're likely to find a kindred spirit somewhere in the mix. And number 5, El Diablo Run, the movie. Parental warning, there is adult situations, language, and general mayhem in this video. I have to admit, I may have my personal reasons because I would love to ride in Mexico, but I found this a fascinating documentary that covers the annual El Diablo Run from Southern California down into the Baja and back. This video to me was a commercial to why we need to ride motorcycles in Mexico. You may not want to have your kids around when you watch it, but it's a thoroughly enjoyable flick. Now there are other ones I could mention, like, Wild Hogs, which gets a lot of grief. Bikers hate it. And admittedly, if it was a documentary, it would absolutely be the worst part of motorcycling, but it's a comedy. And I'm a big Tim Allen fan. And quite honestly, when I was living in New England and this came out in the winter, it was as close as I had available to seeing anything motorcycle. I mean, other than sitting in the basement staring at my bike. So I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was light, it was fun, it gets honorable mention. So that's my list. Go check out the movies, I think you'll enjoy them. And whether you do or you don't, I'd love to hear your comments below. I won't take it personally, you can be honest. It's just my opinion. But before you go, let's take a look around. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you once again for being here, and I will see you tomorrow.